Commissioner Romano?
Here.
Commissioner Meeks?
Here.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Commissioner Rodriguez? Would you stand for the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we do citizens comments now, and we do it before the end of the meeting. I just wanted to welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. We're looking forward to having a productive meeting. And I also wanted to welcome, we have a couple trustees in the audience. We have Connie Travis and Rita Minks. And we also have Commissioner-elect Erica Epperson, so welcome here as well. And any citizens comments?
I move to accept the recommendation of the Administration and Finance Committee to approve the minutes of the board meeting held on March 20th, 2019, and a special board meeting held on March 27th, 2019, and the financial reports, which include the revenue and expenditure report dated April 17th, 2019, and the voucher list dated April 17th, 2019, in the amount of $103,680.15.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Romano?
Aye.
So, Director's Report, I just want to make it really brief, just to remind everyone that Extravaganza is tomorrow, Friday, promptly at 11 a.m. and at 11:02 it will be completely finished. It's one of these fun little events that we have, so it's just at the north end of Fairview Park. I would also like to thank the Civic Center staff, especially Larry Hanover, for setting up tonight and just being very accommodating with our needs and everything. So that concludes.
Okay. Attorney's report? None?
Yeah.
All right. New business.
Okay.
You want to?
Right, so let me just give you a little bit of background. So last year, 2018, we went out for a community survey to kind of get some interest, attitudes as it relates to hard pool. And then from that, there was several different things that the survey suggested. That there was, that one, the community did not want us to permanently close down hard pool. It was overwhelming. The other option was to just replace it with what's there. And then it also identified some three things that the community as a whole, that's both the park district and private and other public groups that are just missing the boat when it comes to an indoor pool, indoor walking track, and an expanded fitness center. So, and to help the board understand what that could look like and what that means and the costs, we went to Williams Architect to design some concepts. These are just really basic concepts about, one is, let's replace the pool as is. So with a little bit of modification, you'll see kind of conceptually what they're looking at. Another option would be to replace it with maybe some expandability, the potential of enclosing the pool at a later time for an indoor option. And then there was a need, we thought maybe we could do a walking track as well. And then the third option was meeting those unmet needs. Again, indoor pool, fitness center, walking track, and we put two gyms in there as well. So Tom Levon and Steve Mihalik, are here to present those findings to you. So, Tom, Steve.
Thank you, Jim. And we're happy to be here. It's been a rewarding process, a lot of good input. We're going to walk through initially some kind of broad parameters that we established to do this study, and then we'll move through the different options. We actually have 3 primary options, as Jeff described. One of them has kind of 2 variations. So Steve will go through those, then we have a bunch of images that'll give you some ideas of what some of these amenities might look like.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us here today. Appreciate the opportunity to be a part of your timely meeting here. As Jeff mentioned, and Tom, there are some schemes that will respond to the outline of, replacement. A lot of these, especially in the case of the option 3 with the indoor component, is some of this as much as test fits, as much as, and kind of looking to infuse some aquatic trends, along with replacement and enhancement. So that being said, I'm going to take you through these options real quick. Before we did that, we did do a little homework. We, did a little zoning analysis. Jeff and I did meet with community development and the engineering department, and kind of got some refresher on best practices and methods. We know we have some current setbacks to deal with in terms of off a Dempster. We were reminded it's best practices to be about 350 feet maximum from a walk to a parking stall to your facility. So that all tests very well. We did learn stormwater. It does need to be collected in a manner that if we take something out and replace it with something we need to provide some additional stormwater management for that. And they really are discouraging any kind of stormwater underground management. Here's our kind of rough 350-foot kind of parameter. That said, we talked about kind of designating about 50 stalls here, and to the west of the facility about 95 on this side. So there's a little further enlargement. We were counting about 95 cars. There's a shared element with the village as well, with the civic center. So first scheme is basically a replacement. A new bathhouse. We're going to stay with the 500 bather load in the spirit of replacement. Thanks, Tom.
Just stay to the side.
Sounds good. I'm blocking everybody's view. So, you see a 50-meter pool. We've disengaged the diving well in the spirit of kind of a more streamlined pool bottom, and we replaced your spray pad. Is there an extended season opportunity along with the spray pad? There certainly is. It would certainly require some further investigation in how you want to operate the facility. We did reclaim the farmer's market pad and said let's expand on the parking a little bit. So even though you're kind of meeting the parameters of parking, it's there was a shared element with other things in the park. So and then we did also add, we call it the Oriole Park kind of model, where what if we had a party room, kind of a self-operating concession supporting a party room, and that could be an extended season and certainly all year round as well. So, and then we flipped the pool equipment over to the service drive along the west property. We do have a slide tower separate from the pool as well, body flume slide, and a trend now is to not an economical trend to be able to do a deceleration lane and not discharge into a wading pool. So you'll see some of the schemes have that as well. So 2A is, now we're thinking about a possible enclosure. We've expanded on the party room, or the program room. Party room would be kind of shifted over, so to speak. So really, this, in the spirit of this area being willing, could be an extended season, and quite frankly, this pool could be an extended season as well. So, that's either a pre-engineered building, or is it something operable? And then you see, similar to Scheme 1, the spray pad. Now our body flume slides are disembarking, discharging into a wading pool, and then the diving well. And by the diving well, all three of these are shown in a 1 meter, 3 meter, and a drop zone. And then we've begun to expand on the parking, kind of acknowledging as you get into additional programming, you're going to need more parking stalls in theory. So, and then we're also showing a designated stormwater area for all these schemes, recognizing even though your park is relatively flat, that is in theory the lowest portion of the park, and there is an opportunity to discharge that stormwater westward towards the river. So. Scheme 2B is a variation of this, where now we are introducing a second story over the bathhouse with a running track. So now you're starting to see stairwells and elevators. The program room goes upstairs, so that kind of goes away on this floor. You'll see that in a minute up on top. The pool, whether it be an outdoor pool, and I failed to mention in the previous slide, it's 25-yard, 6-lane. So that the other amenities are very similar manner as before. So, and then the next slide is an overlay of the bathhouse, where you're now seeing a stairwell going, 2 stairwells needed for building code, an elevator, and a running track, and 2 program rooms, and some common storage, and a toilet room up here too. And then kind of the test fit, what if an indoor pool and warm water pool, and along with some support space, toilet rooms, pool equipment, and now accompanied by a recreation center. Main entrance would be reorientated with the bigger footprint on the site. Fits very nicely. The entrance right now is here. Program space, 2 basketball courts with a running track. Additional parking, this is about 60,000 square feet. With our portfolio projects, we figure that equates to about 3 parking stalls, 3.5 parking stalls per 1,000. So that puts us into a much higher parking count. So we would be needing additional parking in between the existing ball fields in this rec center. Obviously, with a bigger building, more hardscape, comes more stormwater management. And we've grown our parking stalls kind of to the fullest, getting closer to density. And here's the second floor. With the gymnasium would be a running track on the second floor, a health fitness component, health fitness lockers to support that. And these actually represent some openings into the pool, and the opening into the gym, and then some group exercise spaces to support that. So this is a lot to take in, but obviously we did, with all the program elements in consideration, we took all the options and kind of did a matrix of all the square footages of different components, whether they be outdoor aquatics. You'll see some zeros over here because some of these aren't part of option 3, the indoor pool, but now you've got program space that isn't part of the outdoor pool options.
Thanks, Steve. I'm going to walk through a bunch of images that are representative of what Steve just described in the facilities. We'll go fairly quickly through these, but feel free if you have any questions to stop us. So with outdoor pools, we have a lot of different options for slides. Here you can see the slide Steve was describing earlier actually does not drop you into a pool. It's just a big long trough with water in it. It just basically slows you down. Pros and cons, one of the nice things about it is you don't need a dedicated body of water for a slide like that. Here, more traditional slide similar to what you have. You're just seeing a glimpse of a lazy river here. And this is an inner tube slide that drops you into that. This is a zip line, so kind of fun, nice for little older kids to get engaged. We're always looking for opportunities for every age group to be engaged in several activities within the pool zones. Again, just a variety of slide opportunities. The middle one is what they call a speed slide, so a little different experiences. Spray grounds, extremely popular. You obviously have one out there now. This is all at grade. They can also do them with some pretty significant climbing structures, dumping buckets. One of the nice things about this, as Steve mentioned, you place the spray ground in a location where when you shut down the pool, there's a fence there that closes it off, keeps that part safe, and then the spray ground can be opened up for an extended season. You might be familiar with this. This is your other pool in town at Oriole. It has the 8-lane pool. You can see how we've combined the deep water. Again, trying to make the best use of the water surface area, for diving and leisure, but also for a competitive swim. In the background, you've got a pad walk. You've got what we call a current channel, so the water is actually moving in there, and then a zero entry in this location. Another facility, very similar amenities, a deep pool with overlapping diving boards. Again, current channel in the background. That's fine, Steve. Another spray ground opportunity. In this case, this was in Palatine. They had the traditional spray ground, and in the background, they actually have a small wading pool, so they kind of had the best of both. This is what I was talking about earlier about a larger climbing structure, so a lot of opportunity to engage with the water, wheels that turn, you can open and close valves. Another slide with a run-out trough in this location, a large bucket. Again, a wading pool, more traditional, with a slide and some small spray play features. Sure.
Would this be an addition to the main pool? This would be offered, or will this be part of it and take from the main pool?
No, these would all be separate. And
Okay, so
these
we have-
kinds of pools have to be, the spray grounds and the wading pools have to be separated from the main pool by
Okay,
code.
but would that impact the size of the main pool?
Well, all these things are part of the plans that we showed you. So I wouldn't say they impact the size of the pool. You have a spray ground now, you have a top pool now. We're talking about replacing those pretty much in kind, but with new amenities.
What was the same, that major pool, like you said?
You
50
you
meter
still,
pool?
yeah, the first scheme we showed you, it's a 50-meter pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big body. What's what
Oh,
you're
that's
out
right.
looking at today?
That's what I was, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll notice on all the schemes, like the wading pool, the spray pad and the diving hopper, they were all separate from the 50-meter pool.
Okay, I just-
One thing nice about separating them, is if you do have problems with the pool, an accident or something, you're not shutting down the entire
No, I
facility.
was just concerned about the size of the big pool.
Sure.
I'm sorry, is Oriole pool, is it 50 meters?
No, that's 25 yards,
That's 25,
25 yards, yeah.
so that would be much larger.
That was a process we went through. It had been a 50-meter pool.
Yeah.
But it's a very large body of water and hard to find a lot of leisure use with that large a body and water that deep. So they opted to reduce the size of the lap pool to 8-lane, 25-yard, and then the balance they put into that activity pool we showed you in the background.
Can I say something? Sure. And one thing to keep in mind, these are just concepts, and we are, the reason why everybody's here is because we want full transparency and we want your feedback. So these are just concepts, but I think to what you're asking is the first plan doesn't compromise the integrity of the 50-meter pool, right?
But the plan.
So the diving board is separate,
It
the
does.
spray parks are separate, the pool stays the same, if that answers your question.
With the indoor pool,
Well, like, there was only one, there was Plan A that I saw that kept the size of that pool. The other plans significantly reduced that body of water. It seemed like to me from.
you could put that indoor, but it's a huge body of water.
Oh, no, I'm not saying put
Water.
it indoor. The
Yeah.
concern was that we lost like a lot of water in the other plans. It looked like to me.
Potentially. Again, these are just early concepts.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, you do lose, but in a lot of ways you gain because you're taking out that diving board area. So over at Oriole, the first 26 feet from north to south is a dead zone, that you can't put anything in there because that's the diving board. By regulation, 26 feet from the end of the board to the next activity. So by taking that out, now you gain all that extra space. So yes, there's less because it's 25 yards, but it all becomes then leisure, sort of open swim.
Here's what, over at Oriole, we have a pad walk, so just again, ways to engage with the water, fun activity. We've got water cannons on the side. We like to introduce shade anywhere we can, so you'll see a lot of shade in these images. This is interesting. This is at Carroll Stream. They had the existing pool there. They had a drop slide. This goes into about 12 feet of water. A lot of fun, different kind of experience, obviously a short ride. But they wanted to find other ways to use that water, so we were able to get a variance from the state of Illinois and put in a climbing wall. Now, obviously it overlaps, so operationally they can only run one or the other, but it works out great because you open this for a while, and then a couple hours later you shut the climbing wall down and you open the drop slide. Then back to Oriole, just like to show the concessions opportunities and just creating a nice environment, a nice shaded cover with, and then in the background you can see we have shade over the water. Indoor facilities, these are just images of other facilities we've done. This is just representative of the types of enclosures we might be thinking about if you put a pool indoor. Obviously this is all translucent panels, so you get a lot of natural light into the facility. This is a little more traditional structure, but again with skylights and a lot of glazing around the perimeter. Very nice and light and airy. This is in actually Galena territories, a little different idea of what you could do with the structure. In this case wood, so it brings a lot of kind of warm, inviting feeling into the facility. Outdoors, all kinds of varieties of tot slides can be introduced. Here on the other side of the activity pool, we have a couple smaller slides. We have a fully accessible ramp to get you into the pool. Indoor pools, this is a warm water leisure pool. We've shown you that on the slide, very popular these days. This is an outdoor. They have indoor water and outdoor water at this facility. This is the outdoor pool. Another opportunity for indoor pool, this entire roof structure slides down. So now you're getting a little bit more open, airy feeling in the pool during the summer months. And this is a little extreme, but this is actually the building. It actually slides on rails. So the entire building goes back up into, against the other portion of the fixed building, so that can be moved out and close the pool or be open during the summer. This was a vortex that I talked about on the outside. This is an indoor facility, obviously, and then a leisure pool. This is an image of a facility we're working on where they had a change in level, so they took advantage of that and created a feature out of it with this waterfall effect. And then recreation centers, the lobbies, we like them to be very warm and inviting. They become gathering places, so a lot of activity. If we can bring in a food service, again, just to kind of support the use in the building. Gymnasium, this is from the upper level running track. You can see the track here goes all the way around. We actually have a divider wall in this facility that opens up into another large volume area. Indoor gathering space, this would be similar to what you might think about for the party room. Same thing here, a little smaller scale. This case got great transparency into the pool zone. Another image of a similar type of gathering space. This is a more economical version of the gymnasium where the track is actually at the court level. Pros and cons, obviously it's lower cost, but you can imagine that people are constantly being interrupted if they're trying to use that track. Upper level running track, pretty typical when you have 2 or more court gymnasium. Making use of that high volume, you might have a ropes course. These are a little larger, kind of banquet, multi-purpose rooms. These rooms will divide with actual movable walls, so you can go anywhere from 1 large room to 3 smaller rooms. Try to make it as versatile as possible. Another smaller version of that. Fitness is really big, and it will be the engine that drives the revenue for any kind of indoor recreation facility. So just a few images of different opportunities for fitness. And Steve had mentioned group exercise. These rooms, again, very versatile. You can see the mirrors, so they can be used for dance, aerobics, or activities that you're seeing here on the screen. And we're doing this in a facility in Ohio right now, kind of in a kid's version of a Ninja Warrior. So always looking for, again, opportunities to engage people who come to the facility and create new and exciting experiences. And then indoor playgrounds, again, popular, especially if you have child care that can be expanded to use these types of amenities, birthday parties, etc. Typical child care space. And to the fun part. So you're basically looking at replacing your pool right around $10 million. And we show a range of costs because it's very early in the study. But this is based on our basically significant background in developing these types of facilities, so we have a pretty good handle on where the costs are today. These are all inclusive turnkey costs. They're at today's dollar, so if you build this thing a year or two down the road, there'll be some inflation that will have to be built in, but it would be right around that price range. The options 2A and 2B. 2A did not have the second level to it, but it had the additional program space, and so that cost got larger. That goes, from 11 to 12 million. If you did the pool enclosure, then it goes from 12 to 13 million. So we had the pool adjacent to the building. We're just showing you the breakout cost of actually putting the cover over that pool. And then 2B, a little bigger with the upper level running track. Those costs range from 13, just under 15 million, and then with the pool enclosure, 16 to 18. And then the all indoor facility, 28 to 31. So some big numbers. That's where costs are today, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Did you also estimate operating and maintenance costs for each of the options?
No, not part of the study. That's certainly something that can be done.
Would it differ a lot if there was like indoor versus outdoor? I assume that the indoor facility would do this.
Yeah, you'd have to do a market analysis and then revenue projections in order to really get a good understanding of what those costs might be. I can tell you that when you get into this type of facility, they're much closer to a break-even than a traditional outdoor pool. Pools are expensive to operate.
Keep in mind a lot of that multi-use space we showed you, that's programmed, should be programmed to be used for different things all day long. The goal is to have little or no downtime in that type of facility.
When you say that's closer to a break even, do you mean with operating costs or the initial investment as well?
Well, you're not going to recover the initial investment, but not through the operations of the facility. I don't think it's realistic to anticipate that.
So just
If you hit 100% recovery, that would be on the annual operation costs of the facility. And that's a very positive projection if you can do that.
How would, if we did a new, center here with the party rooms and all that stuff, affect the other Prairie View that they
do? Obviously, fitness would come over to HAR, right? So that space becomes available for us to repurpose that into some kind of programming space available. We're always looking for additional space because fitness and dance sort of butt up against each other at the right time. So it does allow for some expansion. Maybe we're able to do maybe some senior programming over there, maybe some teen stuff. It opens that up. So the other option would be at some point, maybe we don't need Prairie View anymore. Maybe that's a potential opportunity to sell it or to, in some way, to go into an agreement with another entity to, like, land swap it, that sort of thing. So there's opportunities. Those are just sort of general themes.
I was just thinking, would it not be better to put all these amenities and recreation center at Prairie View and then just keep like the pool area stuff here? But we already have a weight room, we have a gym over there. Would it not be better to put that money into Prairie View and expanding that? It seems like there's a lot more room from what I can see there than over here. It seems like wouldn't we be losing like fields and different parts, or is that not part of the, are we gonna lose?
It depends on that. So option 3, we certainly are going to lose a little bit. Right now, that's not a lot of opportunity for use. You've got the pool, it's surrounded by a fence, a building. You're not really getting into that. There's a little bit of a walkway. We do holidays over there, so that's great. So yeah, there is an opportunity to say, okay, at some point, Prairie View is going to become, what are we going to do with it? It's already built in 78, 76. So what are we going to do with that? Can we eventually expand on there? Sure, there's opportunities. Within that footprint, there's an ability to expand. Yeah.
I mean, that way you don't waste it. I mean, you have a gym there already, you have a little workout facility. It seemed like it would be nicer to build it up, maybe an indoor pool there. I don't know, I'm just thinking outside of like, it just seems like that's a nice facility. And I know I like swimming indoors too, but I don't know if I'm so much for like building all these indoor things here, when it seems like it would be better.
Sure.
In my opinion.
Sure, we have limitations. We have limitations at Prairie View because it was not designed to be what it is. It was designed to be for hockey, right? And then energy crisis of the late 70s, they turned it into 9 racquetball courts. Now we're down to 1 playable court, so we're taking it and changing it. So there's flow issues, there's mechanical and HVAC sort of issues with that. But there is certainly areas within that footprint where we can expand. So just to the west, right where the dance room is, where the old entrance used to be, that gives us an opportunity there. We wanted to go north from where the sand volleyball court is, that gives us an opportunity.
Yeah.
And of course, we can go south as well.
Is the thinking that some people feel like they want to get rid of Prairie View? Is that?
No, I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities for that, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And this was a test bed, it was to see
Yeah.
kind of what's conceptually possible. There was, little or no input beyond the test bed and some preliminary discussion.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm just thinking some of the people do drive to the pool. Many of us do. I know kids can walk, but the parking